Hi folks, this is the Candidates Forum and I'm Dave Gallus, and we are here with Bev Courtney, who's going to be running for mayor this coming November in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Bev, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on, Dave.
Sure, it's a pleasure.
Glad to be here.
There's a lot of issues in Las Cruces that a lot of people feel as though aren't going well with City Council, and I'm sure you have your ideas, but before we get to that, how about we find out a little bit about you? Now, you're married.
Yes, I've been married to Robert for 34 years.
34 years
getting
with
close
one man.
to 35.
Wow, that's a heck of a commitment.
And we have 4 kids. And
you've lived in Las Cruces for quite a while?
Yeah, my last son was born here, so I've been here 28 years.
28 years, okay. So you're definitely a native.
Yeah, well.
Okay. I've heard also that you homeschooled your children.
I did, all the way.
I would never have the courage to do such a thing. So that must have been hard. So you know how to manage people and time. So are your children successful?
Yes, Dave. They 2 of them graduated from New Mexico State University with degrees.
Okay.
They got scholarships. And now
scholarships for high school?
For college.
So they were homeschooled all the way up until college?
Yes.
Okay, and they got scholarships, academic scholarships for college?
My son did a double E degree, and my daughter has a master's in social health. And now my oldest son is a medical doctor. He went to UNM and just graduated this last May and is practicing in Idaho now. Wow. And my daughter is a student at Burrell School of Medicine. Wow.
So, but I can't get over the scholarship business. So you had to have your kids educated to where they would win scholarships for college on your teaching abilities.
Well, the best thing I did was hire a tutor for their math in high school.
Okay, okay.
And it was still, less expensive than, say, a private school.
Sure, I understand.
They learned
and you were telling me a little bit about before the show about what it is that made you decide to homeschool your children.
My oldest daughter actually did go through public school, and I saw that their social engineering and their social engineering was becoming more prominent, which I didn't agree with, and then their academics were getting less successful. They were failing at academics.
Wow, okay. So social engineering to me means there's an agenda driving what the students learn, and it's not necessarily civics, and it's not necessarily math and reading. You were saying that reading is so important, and I agree. I used to hate to read when I was in school. I think the only book, the required reading that I had was Old Man and the Sea in high school. The rest was always Cliff Notes, but I realize now that reading is so important.
I knew if I could teach them to read, that they could educate themselves pretty much.
Okay.
There's no limit to what a child can learn once they can read.
And then I guess it's only a matter of what the child has to read. If you're in a school that has an agenda that's driving that ideology, you're going to learn and probably spout whatever it is that they're teaching you, whether it's right or wrong.
That was something that kind of surprised me, because when I married my husband, his parents were avid readers, and they had all the classics. We had those in our house. We had encyclopedias, history, all of those things they grew up around them.
Well, it's funny. I got into politics because I wanted to learn about what was wrong with our country. I took a course at age 63 at New Mexico State University on U.S. Constitution, and I realized they're not teaching the Constitution. So it's very liberal, and it's like they're teaching you how to identify bigotry and racism and oppression, and it's like
some social engineering stuff and not really history of the Constitution?
No, not history. No, not at all. So I understand about these students way back when were indoctrinated into this ideology, and then they bring it forward as professors in the university. So
that's true.
If more people would have homeschooled like you've done, or maybe private school or charter schools, we'd have a better handle on what the truth is.
Just think what they would have done to my kids if they would have started with them in first grade.
I hear some atrocities that, what is it, that transgender story hour at libraries that and I see little kids like kindergarten students that are going to these things.
That's true. It's disconcerting.
That's sad.
It's disheartening because we have a right to choose, make choices for our life and for our family.
Sure.
Under the present system of government, that is. But some choices are destructive, and you want to raise your children so that they grow up happy, healthy, and that they're good citizens of our society.
Sure.
Because it's a mutual benefit.
Right, I understand. Well, so you've had to handle the business of raising children, the business of teaching children, but you also, I think you're a small business owner in Las Cruces, is that correct?
That's right. So since my kids have been out of the house a couple of years, thank goodness, I was glad to be done with it.
Wow.
And I didn't mention my other son is in Albuquerque and he's going to school.
Oh, I think I met him.
Yes.
I think I met him, yes. He's studying to be an EMT, I think it is. Service-oriented.
And he's a newlywed.
Oh, congratulations. Oh, well, I don't imagine you have kids on the way yet, but grandkids on the way yet. But,
I'm ready.
Okay, good deal, good deal. So your business
yes.
is, now, what is the business that you have?
It's called Bev's Outdoor Sundries and Shooter Supply. And so my husband actually was the guy that got me into the firearms industry.
Okay.
Just like most women, I wasn't that interested in it. But he's very persuasive.
Okay.
But so what the problem was that I ran in with not only women, but they will come up with a very nice handgun to do the training with, but their equipment was just bad.
So you're an instructor as well. You're a certified New Mexico State instructor for concealed carry, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And
I have been for like at least 10 years.
So you don't sell firearms if you're a store, but you sell accessories.
Belts and holsters and
okay.
I'm trying to find things that you can't just run to Walmart and get. So
I got you. Sure.
I'm enjoying it a lot.
Now I also heard that you give free instructions. Now, like you said, that like most women, I guess that's a stereotype for me to say that, but I think a lot of people are afraid of guns, and that's why they don't want guns out there. Well, it's kind of a fallacy to think that you're going to remove guns. If you remove guns from society, only the law-abiding citizens will turn them in, and the only people that will have guns are criminals. So
and law enforcement.
Well, yes.
Authority. You don't want to. Now that defining that is a police state. So we're not going to go there.
Okay.
No police state.
So people need to be able to protect themselves. I mean, I can't, with the shootings that we just had in Odessa, Texas, and the ones we had in El Paso, Texas, and, I think nobody in Texas had a firearm that was in that area. They couldn't take this guy down. So I'm thinking more people need to realize that they need to protect themselves because, the average response time from a 911 call to when the police arrives is 10 minutes. This is national average.
That's right.
10 minutes. But the interaction time between a criminal and his victim is 90 seconds.
It's actually right.
So, you're in trouble if you're being accosted. So don't expect the police to get there.
The first line of defense is yourself.
Right.
It's the most immediate and the most effective because a criminal initiates an action, and by nature and by science, your reaction follows it. So you're at a disadvantage as it is. But with training and with the proper mindset, the proper attitude, we can overcome these criminals, and people do it every day.
Yes, I've read about quite a few of them.
They do.
Well, imagine I can't imagine being a father and having a family with me, and a guy shows up with a gun and he starts shooting people, and I can't defend my family. Now, I have a concealed carry permit, and so does my wife. So we are armed. But I can't help but think that people are afraid because they don't know how to handle a firearm. I grew up around firearms. I was a policeman for 25 years, so I always carried one. But a lot of people are afraid. Now, you offer a free service for people to come into your shop to handle your simulated firearm, which is very safe. And you said it has a special lighting system?
It's a laser pistol only.
How does that work?
Well, it has this, and it's actually a pistol that costs as much as the real.
But it feels like a real gun?
It's the size of a Glock 45,
okay.
And I even have a holster and everything. And so I can teach you all the fundamentals and safety. I stress safety.
That's right.
right there without firing a live shot.
And you can actually simulate shooting a target because of the laser,
and it'll
I guess.
save you time and money.
Now it has the same trigger squeeze
It
to
does.
it?
Same weight, same size.
Wow.
So the thing about it is that you have to, safety is, I train it and I stress it over and over and over so it becomes a habit.
Right.
And a habit, when you're not thinking about it, is what will kick in, right?
Right.
If you lose focus on your gun. Of course, I always try to keep people focused on the gun in their hand.
Sure. But
And-
the more comfortable you're with something, the
Right.
safer you'll be.
That's right. And once people learn the protocol of safe handling, it takes some of the fear out of it.
Sure. As a policeman, I only had to fire my gun once, and it was a dog that was attacking me. But the funny thing is, I was walking down the street handling a job, and I could hear the unmistakable sound of a dog's nails, their feet hitting the ground.
Yeah, coming
it was
after
a pack of dogs that was coming at
that's
me.
even more
It was a
dangerous.
bad neighborhood in North Philadelphia. So as I turned around, I pulled my gun out, and I drew down on them, and those dogs must have been shot at before because they all
knew.
came to a skid. They
Is that
stopped.
right?
Yeah. And then I turned around, holstered my gun up, and I started walking away. As I'm walking away, I could hear a growl behind me. And I just had enough time to turn. It looked like something out of a John Wayne movie. I turned around, whipped around, and fired from the hip and hit the dog right in the center of the chest.
Wow.
He went down. But if I didn't have that constant training of the familiarity with the gun, how to hold the gun, how to sight well, I didn't sight it. It was just
So it was
a
a
reaction.
better, it was a better outcome than getting mauled by a pack of dogs.
Well, yeah.
'Cause
Much
they would have
better for
killed
me.
you.
Much
They do
better
kill
for me.
people.
But the thing is, like you say, when you're familiar with something, you're not afraid of it. You know how to use it, and that makes it safe. So I would suggest anybody that wants to get some free training and familiarity is go to Bev's shop, and she'll be able to show you what it's all about, handling a gun. It's not that scary. And imagine that you are not able to protect your family. That's the bad situation to be in. So let's see.
I just want to say that too, that women on average are weaker than men, about 40%, which
Physically.
is, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a lot. And so that's a force multiplier for women. So it's women's, I don't think anybody, if they think about it very much, don't take away her right of self-defense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's why my husband pushed me to go to the class and gave me firearms, because he said that it was women and children, or younger women and children, that suffer
Sure.
criminal assaults.
Sure, absolutely. They're vulnerable.
Yes.
Now, when you say women are 40% weaker, but you guys make it up in other ends, like childbearing and raising children.
Hopefully influence.
Okay, yes. So I understand.
I mean, men do all these great things, build houses, make the fastest cars, the fastest guns. And so what we want them to do is, it benefits us.
Sure. Well, they say behind every
It's a mutual
successful man
benefit.
is an intelligent and pushy woman. I don't
Not
know.
too pushy,
Okay.
I hope.
Somewhat pushy, I'll say. So we've talked about your background, we've talked about your business. There's other issues we can talk about, and we will, because there's so many issues to deal with in Las Cruces. Jobs, homelessness, the way the red tape is in Las Cruces, and businesses, and to support those businesses. And so we're going to come back after a short break and get more into what it is you'd like to talk about and how you're going to help Las Cruces succeed, bring jobs back to Las Cruces, education system. So we'll be back after a short break, and please stay tuned. Come back. We'll be talking with Bev Courtney, who's running for mayor in Las Cruces.
Horizon Granite is here. We'll come to you to customize your kitchen and bathroom with beautiful countertops and cabinets. Find out more at horizongranite.com. Call us at 575-650-3180.
Horizon Granite is here.
It's here.
Make yourself a beautiful home.
There you go.
So great. Some of the guys, not all.
Hi folks, welcome back to the Candidates Forum with Bev Courtney, who's running for mayor in Las Cruces, New Mexico. We talked about Bev's background in the first segment of the show. We talked about firearm training that Bev has so graciously offered to give to the folks of Las Cruces, get you familiar with firearms. So now let's talk about, you're a person that follows the law. You believe that's very important.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I've been somewhat of a political activist because it started when I was a firearms trainer and Bill Clinton was the president, and they started talking about gun laws. And I found it very shocking that they were going to introduce the crime bill. And in the crime bill, they were going to confiscate certain guns, and they were going to have foreign troops enforce that.
Foreign troops?
Yes.
You mean like UN or something like that?
Yes, yes.
So the UN was going to take over the enforcement of laws
That's
in
right.
the United States.
That was shocking.
That's a big problem.
It was that.
We are the United States, not the United
Yes.
Nations.
Yes, it was shocking to me. So
Okay.
it was like they were against everything that I believed in,
Right.
right? And so that, it wasn't an actual conscious decision. It was just kind of a reaction to what they were saying and doing.
Nothing
at
wrong with that.
time.
If it motivates you, if passion motivates you, that's a good thing.
And so we have the laws of our land, the law of liberty. We have the Constitution. The New Mexico Constitution supports it.
Right.
And the thing about that is it gives us liberty. The Bill of Rights is what brings people the world over to come here to make these long journeys, to get into our land, to enjoy the freedom and the prosperity that they see that we have. I want to keep it for my family and for future generations of America.
Okay, yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's why they're coming to our
That's
country.
why they come here, and they come at great peril.
Yeah, they do. They do. They're victimized by people in their own country that say, just come to America, you get a free ride, or you get a better job, or whatever it is. But that's not always the case.
Yep, you know, the truth is that I worry about them coming here and then getting victimized
Sure.
here.
Sure. Absolutely. I understand that. So you follow the Constitution. Well, I'm a big constitutionalist myself, and I'm finding that our government seems to sidestep that Constitution. And go
They
ahead.
seem to have an agenda, and it's not the average person's agenda. So I want to advocate for the people, for their rights. I have been denied a voice in the public square. I've been harassed by bureaucracy because I'm kind of outspoken. And so, when I do that, I hear people come to me and they say, well, this happened to me, this happened to me, and this happened to me.
So you're not alone in this.
Right. So the government is got its basic responsibilities, you know, safety and security and infrastructure. The rest of it, they kind of just need to let, you know, they're here to serve the people. The government, they're elected to serve the people, to listen to the people, and not, I think they kind of look at us as a cash cow.
Well, they look at us every time it comes for a vote.
And
When
as
we
a
have to
and the rest of the
re-elect them.
time, they're thinking, we tax them for everything. There's not a tax that they haven't figured out.
Right, sure. And they'll add more, I'm sure.
They keep adding
So
more.
I notice in our federal government that our representatives don't do what we want, they do what they want, or the people that get them elected want. So that happens in city council as well, because I remember going to, do you remember when we had the shootings, with the school shootings?
Yes.
And then right after that, then they had the city council meetings about school safety. But it wasn't about that, where I think you went to some of the meetings.
I did go to those.
Tell me about what was your take on those meetings?
It was just a thoughtless reaction to the crime. They want to talk about taking the guns away, but there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of other factors that they ignore, and the people know that they're ignoring it.
I remember the first meeting, we packed City Hall, and a lot of people were carrying firearms, and that was scary for City Council, because they went, whoa, but they're
I
legal.
actually stayed outside.
No, I was inside, but then we had that meeting not necessarily shut down, but they tabled the suggestion. What they wanted to do was limit the possession and use of semi-automatic weapons, and that's most of the weapons
That
out
was
there.
later when, Grace
So
Smith, they did one out at the,
Onate High School.
yes, they did. And
And-
it was, we call it the gun grabbing.
Well, I mean, I noticed
Council.
that they had it at a school so that you couldn't bring your firearm, and they had all the windows plastered with words saying "No guns allowed."
I
No guns allowed.
actually saw that our side, we were very polite,
Yeah.
but
Vocal?
they didn't listen. They didn't listen.
No, you had. I would say you probably had 100 people at 2 separate meetings that said
There was
they
a lot
did
of
not
people.
want them to mess with our Second Amendment rights. And they still sent a
I'm not
resolution
sure
to
there
Santa
was
Fe.
at least 200 people at that.
Might have been.
second one.
Okay, it
was
was
a lot of
packed. I
people.
know that. It was packed. And so our city council did not listen to us.
They didn't
Will
listen.
you listen to us when you're mayor?
I will listen. And that's just one thing. There was the bus thing, which the people actually voted against.
Tell me about that.
Well, the city and the county wants these regional buses,
Right.
and they put it to the vote. People said no. Well, guess what? They went and bought them anyway. They're running them, and they're costing money. We're not ready for it because it's a big expense that's just costing us money.
I did hear that there's very few people that ride on the bus. To me, a solution might have been, okay, you get a voucher. If you're a senior and you want to ride a bus or get a taxi, it's much cheaper than actually having the upkeep of the maintenance on the vehicles and the bus routes and the cost of the drivers and things like that. So it doesn't sound like the city is managing our money very well.
Well, they have fiscal responsibility, but the question is, or the issue is that they spend it the way they want to.
Right.
And-
So the people need to be listened to. I think what folks forget is that they're the employees. Well, you
That's
will
right.
be when you're mayor.
That's right.
But we're the employers. The thing is to get people out to vote. And I would say, folks, make sure you get out to vote. Get your education on who the candidates are, what their policies are, and think about the people that are in office right now. Are they doing the job for you? Because if they're not, we need somebody new like Bev Courtney. So let's see. What else would you like to bring up?
Well, so mainly I want the people to have fair representation, because there's nobody that's the gun owner, that's a conservative Christian, that is pro-life. There's just a multitude of issues.
And they're
Right
not
to
being heard.
work. They're taking on the socialist agenda, and people don't want socialism. That anybody that's educated, that any working person in the real world who's paying all of those taxes, so we're getting taxed without representation, because fiscal conservatives are people that have businesses to run, payrolls to meet, that get up and go to work every single day. Where's their voice?
So you're saying get the government out of things that they don't need to be in.
Well-
Businesses run themselves, actually. The free market enterprise system.
Well, see, the businesses and the working people are paying all the taxes, but their voice is the one that's being silenced.
Okay, and you were saying too, I think businesses in Las Cruces have so much red tape and restrictions on businesses that
It's kind of endless, you
Yeah.
know. Regulations cost you money, they cost you time.
Sure. I imagine some businesses just leave Las Cruces.
We
Go-
see that.
because I don't think we're competitive with our neighbors, with El Paso. Things are cheaper there. So, you know, the regulations, the needless regulations, to me it seems like the regulations are to support hiring people to enforce those regulations, or a new bureaucracy to open up that group of people that runs it. So to me it seems like money could be better spent.
Yes, we want to encourage businesses, roll back regulations, give them the freedom to expand and grow. And we want our young people to have jobs here. You know, that's a common complaint that I've heard and have experienced, because my kids are all left town.
Right, right.
And-
So there's no incentive to stay here.
So when there's not jobs for these young people,
Right.
they are getting into crime
Sure.
and
Sure.
doing things to occupy their time instead of being gainfully employed.
No, I hear you. Well, there's a lot needs to be done. So, Bev,
A lot.
if people want to get involved with your campaigning, if they want to help with donations, if they want to call you with a question, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, the first thing, because I like to talk to people face to face,
Okay.
come to my shop at 2645 Missouri Avenue, Suite 1. And you can also call me at 575-642-1003. I have a Facebook page called Bev for Mayor, and I have my website is still Bev Courtney for New Mexico.
Courtney, Bev Courtney for New
I
Mexico.
have some updating to do because
Okay.
I've ran 3 campaigns, and I keep fighting because the more I find out, the more I feel like the people need some honest representation, some integrity.
We sure do need that. Bev, it's been an absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you. Hope to see you next week. Folks, come back next week on Candidates Forum, and hopefully we'll get Bev back again, and she'll tell you how to solve the problems of Las Cruces.
I'm Bev Courtney, and I approve this message. Carol Cooper, Treasurer.